And it's the start of a new week. Hello there, you're watching The Pulse on the JoyNews channel. Coming up this afternoon, calls for a full-scale parliamentary probe into serious allegations leveled by former Environment Minister against top government officials and persons close to the president over their involvement in illegal mining activities. Despite some of these officials denying the allegations, Professor Frimpong Boateng is not backing down, pointing to some media reports which he says confirms his story. We'll hear one of such reports here on The Pulse. And also this afternoon, more than 60 Ghanaian students make their way out of the war-torn Sudan to the Ethiopian border as many continue to flee the deadly clashes. But more help is needed for some 23 students still stuck in the Sudanese capital, Khartoum. We'll get you the latest plus here from the students. Excitement is building up already ahead of next weekend's Aboakyer festival in Winneba. We'll tell you what the plans are and what you need to know about the security arrangements as we prepare to mark this festive season in the central parts of Ghana. It's all coming up here on The Pulse. The Pulse, as always, is brought to you by Global Communities Digni Lu Affordable Safe Sanitation. Don't forget that we're on DSTV channel 421 and GoTV channel 144. I'm Blessed Sogah. We're bringing you the details shortly. Please stay with us. Thanks for staying with us. There are calls for a full-scale parliamentary probe into allegations leveled by former Environment Minister Professor Frimpong Boateng against some government officials and persons close to the presidency. Professor Frimpong Boateng maintains these individuals, some of whom he names in his report to the Chief of Staff, are responsible for government's failure to win the fight against illegal mining. Some of these individuals include President Akufo-Addo's own cousin, Gabi Asare Otri-Dako, and he's denying the allegations. Mr. Otri-Dako is accused of contacting the minister just when the Inter-Ministerial Committee was set to dislodge a company identified as destroying a forest through mining activities. Mr. Gabi Asare Otri-Dako, however, says that he was only asking questions on behalf of his clients as their lawyer. Well, there's a need for us to get this new statement coming through from Professor Frimpong Boateng. Joining us now is my colleague, Joseph Akablay, who has details of what it is that of course, the minister has been raising. Joseph, just before we listen into that, I want us to briefly hear Gabi Asare Otri-Dako respond to the claims earlier made by the professor.
On a matter that's purely about a lawyer asking questions about his client. My lawyer comes to me and says that his client, with all these permits and licenses, goes on site with equipment to do prospecting, and the soldiers have come to seize the equipment. Now, what do you do as a lawyer? So I call the minister for clarification. I have a client who has all the documents or permits and licenses required to do prospecting, everything. And he goes on site, and then soldiers come to basically stop, not just stop them from working, but seize all the equipment. So I asked the minister, but they have permits, so what really, I want to understand the issue. And then the minister fires back and says, they are not prospecting, they are mining. Are you challenging the permit as fake? I said, no, but it shouldn't have been issued. I said, yeah, but that's a different matter. But I just want to understand really what the issues are. Is it that, so essentially he gave me his side of the story, which is that he believes that what they were doing was mining, not prospecting, even though they had just gone on site. And that was the conversation that we had.
Well, Professor Boateng is backing the news, responding to the claims by Gabi Asare Otri-Dako. Let's get more from Joseph Akablay, our correspondent who's joining us. Joseph, what does he have to say, for instance, about what Gabi says, that he's only a lawyer seeking information on behalf of his clients?
In fact, he makes the point that that particular claim is laughable. That part of the statement he released, he reads, "It is laughable you claim to have called me to seek information on your client. If you needed any information, you could have called the Minerals Commission. You know I did not operate the Mining Information Service." He goes on to now detail what he says is the history of the company that is at the center of this particular controversy. He starts by saying that on 29th November 2016, there was a letter that was written by Mr. Tony Obin, then Chief Executive Officer of the Minerals Commission during the NDC administration. He wrote to the company CNG Alaska that the company was, quote, seriously engaged in illegal mining on its prospecting license. He goes on to say that on 30th January 2017, the company was written to again, being warned of the activities that it was engaged in. Then he makes reference to 2nd October 2017, where this time around, John Peter Mewu, the then minister responsible for that particular sector, wrote to the company regarding its concession at Duabo and directed that in view of the fact that it does not have a valid mining operating permit and that the company and ministry has not yet ratified the lease, they are directed not to carry out any mining operations. And so he goes on to say that it was in these forest reserves that the IMCIM task force attempted to stop the illegal operations of the company and the subsequent company that took over, the Imperial Company Limited.
Interesting points there, I see. Now we know that Professor Boateng is also pointing to some media reports regarding this very company, which had Gabi Asare Dako claiming that he's a lawyer or counsel for the company. What more do we know?
Yes, he actually alleges that through the Gabi's intervention, some Chinese nationals arrested at a site operated by the company were released. He also says soldiers who were providing security for the company attacked journalists covering the activities of the Inter-Ministerial Committee on Illegal Mining. This, he points out, was captured by JoyNews, and we know that Erastus Asare Donko, our colleague at Love FM in Kumasi, brought us those stories. In one of those instances, our vehicle, the side mirror, and the windscreen were cracked, and that particular report is what Professor Frimpong Boateng points to.
Well, I see. Well, there's a lot of reaction that's been greeting this. Joe, just hold on for us briefly. Let's bring in the former Minister for Lands and Natural Resources, Alhaji Nusef Hussein, who is joining us via Zoom now. Thank you, sir, for your time. If you're with us, how are you, of course, assessing what's happening now? A former government appointee, well, he's still a government appointee, heading a different capacity now as the Vaccine Institute. But now we know that he's not satisfied about how government is fighting or going about the issues tackling illegal mining. From your own perspective, what should the government be doing about the claims?
Well, thank you so very much for having me. I think that there were already telltale signs of the difficulties and challenges that greeted the Inter-Ministerial Committee on Illegal Small-Scale Mining when it became apparent that some persons associated with government were involved in illegal small-scale mining. I mean, you recall that the excavators of the National Women's Organizer were bent. You recall that the Akonta mining was accused of mining in forest reserves. You recall that Sir John was accused of having concessions or mining in forest reserves, and many others. I mean, many others. Some ministers of state names also came out. Persons working in the Jubilee House. So we have always known that the Frimpong Boateng's committee and the subsequent committee that was set up under Samuel Agujinapo will face challenges. And what Frimpong Boateng has captured in the report somehow confirms our long-held suspicion that the fight against illegal small-scale mining was not succeeding, largely because some powerful persons were involved in protecting those who were engaged in that illegal activity.
But if you make those points, the president, for instance, comes back to say that the concerns he was raising in this report lacks evidence. No single piece of evidence adduced to support his claims.
What evidence does the president need? What evidence? I mean, the president's the response issued by the presidency is at best laughable. It's ludicrous. That you would say that the man has not provided a transmittal letter and has not provided evidence. But there's evidence that the land in the gold mining areas is being degraded with careless abandon. That's not evidence. So who are the people behind the degradation? Who are those behind the degradation? That we are not arresting, we are not prosecuting people. Short of calling the A&G Alaska criminals, the response of Frimpong Boateng says it all. In fact, what has happened in those areas is termed universally as environmental crime. It's a despoliation of the environment. We are compromising the ability of the future generation to continue to depend on the land. And this is totally unacceptable. I mean, if a president says, I have put my presidency on the line, and you receive a report of the nature that Frimpong Boateng produced, the least you could do was cause an investigation to be conducted into the allegations.
Yeah, but I guess that's where the president comes in to say, well, if you want me to investigate this, provide the documents, support it with strict proof for me to act on.
What are you talking about? That we have a lazy president? Is that what you are suggesting? That we elected a president who is so lazy that when you give an indication of wanton destruction of the forest by illegal activities and suggest names that are behind it, the president cannot call state institutions to investigate your claim, but asks you to provide evidence? Is that what you are suggesting? Is that all that the presidency is about?
Okay, you tell me, exactly what are you expecting from the president, for instance, if you were the president at this moment?
I expected the president to appreciate the seriousness of the allegations raised by Frimpong Boateng in his report. I expected the president to act on the report expeditiously and with alacrity. I expected the president to appreciate the weight of the statement that he's put his presidency on the line and act of any shred of evidence that his people or some people connected with his government are the perpetrators of this heinous offense, and not to ask Frimpong Boateng to add a transmittal letter to the report or to provide further and better particulars of the accusations.
Okay.
If a president has come into office saying that we should bet on him, we should take a chance on him, the president must demonstrate beyond any reasonable shade of doubt that his invitation to us to take a chance on him was intended to be taken seriously if a chance was taken on him. And not the president, after we haven't given him an opportunity to rule this country, now tells us that we have to provide further and better particulars of allegations made against officers associated with his government before he can act. That is not what the president is about.
Fuseni, you've been at the Lands and Natural Resources Ministry before. This is not new to you. Galamsey is a big fight, you agree?
Well, I know Galamsey is a very big fight. And I told Samuel Abujinapo, my brother, that if he was going to succeed in this fight, he needed the total and unalloyed support of the president, because people will frustrate him. I'm not surprised that Frimpong Boateng has been frustrated. I know exactly what goes into Galamsey. You must have the total and unalloyed support of your boss to be able to prosecute the fight. Is it not a breach of trust that certain officers of state who are paid with state resources are culpable in the heinous degradation of the environment?
Yeah, but Alhaji, we need to be safe here. You're speaking as though you, in its entirety, believe the report coming through from Professor Frimpong Boateng.
I believe in its entirety. I have no reason to doubt the report. Doesn't it come to you as a surprise that within the 2 years that the MPP government under Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo placed a total ban on small-scale mining? This was the period that Ghana exported the largest amount of gold from the small-scale mining sector. How did that come about?
So going forward, what's your, recommendation in terms of how we can tackle this? Some are calling for just hold on for me briefly. Some are calling for a bipartisan probe into this from the parliamentary level. Some are also asking the Ghana Police Service to act immediately. There are those who believe that the president still has an opportunity to act on this and to, for instance, invite Professor Frimpong Boateng and some of the government officials named in his report. What's the appropriate posture or measure for you?
First of all, I think that the president must demonstrate to all of us that he means exactly what he says when he said that he was putting his presidency on the line. He has to act on the report. After all, Frimpong Boateng, Professor Frimpong Boateng was not a busybody. He was asked to produce the report by the chief of staff.
Right.
And so Frimpong Boateng himself, the government owes Frimpong Boateng a duty to implement the report. That's the first thing. The second thing is that we have a report. It gives an indication that the fight is not succeeding largely because of the kind of people who are involved in the illegal activity. The least the president can do is to cause an investigation into the allegations raised. That's the least he can do.
Okay, that's your expectation of the president. How about the parliamentary probe? Will that succeed? Will that be helpful?
Well, that will be helpful. That will be helpful. I think that it will be helpful to the extent that if people have confidence that the parliamentary probe will produce results, I tell you without any fear of doubt that the people in the mining communities know those behind the illegal mining activities. They do. But you see, the impunity with which these people are going about their activities has somehow made the people lethargic. They think that even if they report, nothing will happen. And that is why people are not speaking up. But let me assure you that the people of this country, especially those in the mining communities, know exactly the nature and type of people who are despoiling the environment.
Alhaji, respond to this statement for me. We have lost the fight against illegal mining. You agree?
Oh, we have. We have. The destruction is catastrophic. The report shows that the attempt to fight illegal small-scale mining has failed completely and spectacularly. That it has failed because those who have been entrusted with the responsibility of stopping the illegal activities are those complicit in the perpetuation of that illegal activity. And that's why we have failed.
What do we...
How come?
Yeah.
How come that there is a legal regime in the Minerals and Mining Act that spells out precisely and concisely how equipment seized from the illegal mining sites should be dealt with? How come that more than 500 excavators just got missing, vanished into thin air without due regard to the laws of this country?
Well, we're still looking for the excavators. Probably if you have any help or to track them, that will be helpful. That's just on a lighter side. But back to the key issues that confronts us. The laws, the legal regime, and how to reform them and make them better so we're able to tackle this problem. I'm not sure this is just a Nana Akufo-Addo problem, you agree? This goes beyond the presidency, and we need a collective fight against this. So how do we I mean, start off by reforming our laws and getting the regime in place.
You are perfectly right. You are perfectly right when you say that the laws, the legal regime, the regulations are continuously evolving. When I became Minister of Lands and Natural Resources, the penalty for engaging in illegal small-scale mining was not deterrent enough. It was just a fine. So when we went onto the field to stop the illegal small-scale mining, we realized that illegal small-scale miners could pay the fine with ease. So we returned to the office and sponsored an amendment to the Minerals and Mining Act that made the penalty stiffer. We realized that even though small-scale mining was the exclusive preserve of Ghanaians, a large number of foreigners had invaded the small-scale mining sector. We went back to the drawing boards and stiffened the penalty against foreigners who were engaged in small-scale mining. We realized that equipment seized from the small-scale mining sites, illegal small-scale mining sites, could not be confiscated to the state. There was no provision that allowed for the confiscation of those equipment that were used in the small-scale mining sector. We came back to the office, sponsored an amendment to make it possible to confiscate those equipment from illegal small-scale miners. So it's a continuous activity. But my brother, if you don't implement the law, how do you appreciate the lacuna in the law?
And Alhaji, I would appreciate it if you could just look into the camera for us and speak directly to the political class. The concern about the political class is key because the belief is we're not tackling illegal mining simply because your colleagues, those who are in political office, those who have political influence, are able to bend the rules. What message do you have for them?
First of all, politics is about trust. And so those in the political class must know that a huge privilege has been done them by giving them an opportunity to serve the country. To serve the country, my words underlined. It's a public office. So those in that offices or in those offices are public servants. They are servants. And so nobody turns a person into office because he wants that person to enrich himself, but to provide public service. By persons in the political class is simply greed, avarice, and smacks of a breach of trust. If the people give you a mandate and you use the mandate for your personal benefit, it destroys the trust and lessens the effectiveness of our laws and regulations, because people will then act with impunity, because they are emboldened to act with impunity, because we, those who have been entrusted with the performance of duties in the public office, are abusing our office. That is why when I was made Minister for Lands and Natural Resources, I was left in no doubt that I didn't have to get myself involved in any illegal activity in at the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources, whether it was illegal logging, illegal mining, or whatever, or even grabbing of state land. I was so convinced that the only way to solve the problem was to extricate yourself and not be a beneficiary of those things. And that was why I never got myself involved in them. If your mother is declared a witch, you have to exorcise your mother before you can have the authority to deal with other people's matters. And this goes to Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo. If your officers are said to be complicit in the illegal activities in the small-scale mining sector, you have to deal with your officers in order to have the necessary authority, moral authority, to deal with officers who are not associated with your party. And it's very important.
Very key points you're raising there. Of course, I thought that would have been the last one, but there's this issue coming up about the legal status of this report being issued by Professor Frimpong Boateng. You are a lawyer as well. What influence, what authority, or perhaps what grounds can this report constitute for any future government that may be interested in pursuing the matter to take up and to use this document? Is this document useful or otherwise?
That is a very important document. First of all, the document gives us an indication of the nature of the problem and those involved in the perpetuation of the problem. Two, the document also details and catalogs the extent of degradation in the mining sites and the people involved in the commission of those crimes. I say crimes because my reading of the document and my appreciation of our responsibility to protect the environment leaves me in no doubt that what Professor Frimpong Boateng has catalogued would constitute environmental crime. Now, so any government, including the Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo government, should be interested in going to the roots of the problem.
Are you suggesting that these individuals mentioned in the document could be prosecuted on the basis of this document by any future government? Is that what you're suggesting?
I have no doubt that they can and should be prosecuted. I have said that if it were the revolutionary era, I'm sure these people would have been tried by now and probably be put before the firing squad.
Yeah, but this is a document from an individual. What's the relevance?
But this is a document from an individual who occupied a dual office as the Minister for Environment and as the chairman of the Interministerial Committee on Illegal Small-Scale Mining. He must be talking from his experience in the discharge of his responsibilities as the chairman of the Illegal Small-Scale Mining Committee. You can't treat such a report lightly, can you?
Well, some would say, and as the president is pointing out, he was just fuming over his personal frustration.
Well, I, as a lawyer, will say yes. The president says we received the documents. We received the documents because they have not said that they haven't received the document. They have sought to rely on what, in their view, are technicalities, and they are not technicalities. Unless they simply want to tell us that Professor Frimpong Boateng walked up to the office of the Chief of Staff and left the office, the document on the table of the Chief of Staff without the Chief of Staff's knowledge. Obviously, what I know about official procedure is that these documents would have been received in the mail and sent to the office of the Chief of Staff. But the president doesn't deny the contents. So I presume that the presidency and the president have read the documents, but they refuse to act on the documents. They appreciate the enormity party.
Unfortunately, appears we've lost. Of course, Alhaji Yunusa Hussein, who is the former. Yes, Alhaji, if you're still with us, we lost you briefly. You're saying that the president admitted receipt of the document and then.
Appreciated the enormity of the document.
Right.
Or the matters contained in the document, but decided to shelve the matter in the hope that it will never come to light. 2 years after the document was submitted to the presidency, we now know what was contained in the document. We now know.
So you're saying prosecution is the way to go, and that the next government, NDC government, as you were assuring, you were putting out that earlier.
I can assure you that in the next NDC government, these matters raised by Frimpong Boateng will be investigated and, if necessary, prosecuted.
Okay, let's wrap up. The status of the Interministerial Committee, we're not too sure if it's still active, but should the president reconsider his decision on that committee, or perhaps look at another approach to dealing or solving the problem?
That will be the third attempt, not so. The first attempt was when the committee was constituted under Professor Frimpong Boateng, which included 10 ministers. That committee failed spectacularly. And the document produced by Professor Frimpong Boateng bears eloquent testimony to the catastrophic failure. Then a new minister for lands and natural resources was appointed in the person of Honorable Samuel Abdullahi Jinapor. He sought to revive the fight against illegal small-scale mining and constituted or called for a national conference, and I was associated with the national conference. That too has failed. Now, if the president is minded within the last 2 years to
Alhaji, hello, Alhaji. Okay, we've lost him, but point well made there on the issues relating to illegal mining. Well, some aspects of the media reports that Professor Frimpong Boateng has been referring to was captured by a JoyNews documentary produced by Erastus Asari-Donkor, highlighting some of the incidents and the claims that the former chair of the Interministerial Committee on Illegal Mining has been referring to. Here are excerpts for you, and we'll be back.
We drive through roads made by these illegal miners in a once virgin restricted forest. They link one mining site to another deep in the reserve.
This is the Apamprama Forest Reserve, under the watch of the Forestry Commission. Now come with me as I take you through the devastation caused by illegal mining, even within a mining ban.
Many rare tree species nurtured for years have been felled with reckless abandon. At best, the miners process some into planks to construct makeshift sheds. The rest of the logs are buried deep under heaps of earth created around large uncovered pits. The destruction to these virgin forests is huge, over 15 different locations, each about the size of 10 football fields combined.
Several hectares of land destroyed in this manner, deep within the forest reserve. Now, many questions arise at the moment, and some of those questions are, so this devastation went on, and the Apraman Forest Reserve sites are right here. The Forestry Commission says it had no evil, it did not see anybody bringing in heavy equipment. This has lasted for close to a year. No government official got wind of it, or nobody was prepared to even face them.
At one such site in the Cobra Forest, head of security for mining firm Heritage Imperial Mining Company, ex-WO Aboakyer, told the task force it has the blessing of people he describes as high-powered to carry out operation in the area.
We are here. There's a document. No problem. A minor. Do you understand? I'm not a minor.
In the last 5 days, a bold and relentless enforcement of the ban on small-scale mining has led to arrest of 20 Chinese nationals, 4 of them in the Diaso Forest Reserve at the weekend. 10 of the excavators have been sent to Accra and many mining settlements destroyed by the task force. Task Force Commander W1 Isaac Nyako is overwhelmed by the wanton destruction of forest.
Indeed, this is the largest. In fact, I don't even know how to start and how to end. I'm even shocked seeing the ground like this. The largest so far at this very site.
Leader of the Interministerial Task Force, Nana Jekum, says the fight will continue. Reporting for Joy News, Erastus Asaridonko, Kumasi.
And pressure is continuing to mount on government to form a bipartisan committee that will probe this matter. Political activist and a member of the governing New Patriotic Party, Dr. Arthur Kobrina Kennedy, wants a full-scale parliamentary probe into the matter.
It's a damning, substantive, fact-filled report, and the idea that it sat on the president's desk for 2 years is unimaginable and unfathomable.
Some have said that it was presented to the chief of staff and that the president may not have seen it. Some have even gone as far as suggesting that if Professor Frimpong Boateng wanted this to gather the sort of steam he is putting out now, then he should have addressed it at the cabinet level. How do you respond to such concerns or comments?
Well, I mean, those saying that are not serious. To begin with, all around the world, everybody knows that when you hand a report to the chief of staff, it is as good as handing it to the president, unless the president wants to say he has no confidence in his chief of staff. As for presenting it at the cabinet level, at that time he had left the cabinet, so he couldn't have presented it to the cabinet. Furthermore, the report itself contains clear, unambiguous instances of him bringing up to the president the problems that the Interministerial Committee task force was having, particularly, for example, with regard to the senior minister, with regard to Sir John, with regard to a lot of others, and the president promising to address those. He didn't. So the idea that if he wanted to be serious, he would have presented it at the cabinet level, it's really a non-starter, and no serious person will say that. I think that not only that, I actually am happy that we're doing this on Joy News, because you and your reporter, Erastus Asaridonko, did some very brave reporting in which you highlighted a lot of the problems in Galamsey. There were instances where 2 groups of military people almost came to blows, with one group with the Interministerial Committee, another group protecting the Galamseyers. And this was aired and everybody saw it. So the idea that this report has been on the blind side of the president is really a joke and an insult both to the president's intelligence and integrity as well as to Ghanaians.
Both to the president's intelligence and integrity. Why do you say that?
I mean, it is obvious that those making the argument are not serving him well. You know, when you say that a president chief of staff has had a report for 2 years, but he didn't know about it, I mean, that's really not on. And secondly, I'm also saying that the reporting by Joy FM and other news outlets should have come to the attention of the president. So the idea that he didn't know about it is really something that serious people should not claim.
Well, that's not the end of it. Professor of Law, Pierre J. Etias, shares his view on why he believes there must be a probe into the matter.
For me, I think the matter was swept under the carpet, because if you look at the reports, it is not just an ordinary report. It's not just an informal discussion as it is being alleged. Of course, we don't have all the complement of facts to come to a definite conclusion. But if you put the pieces together, the evidence can be corroborated to come to the conclusion that this is not just a personal rantings by the former minister about an issue that he confronted while doing his work as a minister and as part of the chair of that committee that was set up. So it is unfortunate that that is the spin that the government is putting on it. But it is obvious for well-meaning people to discern and to see that this is a deliberate attempt to sweep something under the carpet and to come up with some justification which does not seem to fly.
To come up with some justification that does not seem to fly. But what do you feel could have led to this situation? Why do you think, you say it was swept under the carpet, but why do you think that was?
Well, for a number of reasons. I think one is the obvious fact that who is running the show, the governance system that we have, who is running it, it's not just the government that has been brought to power. And so in this situation, you have some forces that work behind or are working behind the government. And it's not only peculiar to Ghana. It's as a result of the kind of democratic system that has been imposed on us. And so we have a system where people support campaigning and people need to be paid back for what they have put into the campaign exercise. And so for that matter, it's difficult for government to, expose such people. And for that matter, it creates a situation where some issues are swept under the carpet just to protect people who are in high places and who are involved in such practices. I think that is the bottom line.
And we'll keep watching the space and bring you some updates as and when we have them. You're watching the Pulse on the JoyNews channel. When we get back, Ghana is becoming a destination for luxury cars. However, they may have been stolen from some European countries. I bet you didn't know about this. We'll talk about it. Plus, get some reactions on that for you right here on the Pulse. Please stay. Good to have you back here on the Pulse. Now, guess you've fallen in love with one of these luxurious cars and the others, as you see them on our streets, from Maybachs to Range Rovers, Mercedes, BMW, and some of the brands that you've seen around. Well, the Economic and Organized Crime Office says a number of these vehicles were stolen from the likes of Canada and other places through and actually brought into our country. Now, those who bought them have no idea at all that these vehicles are indeed stolen. But the question we're asking is, of course, why would Ghanaian vehicle dealers go and steal vehicles and then sell them to the unsuspecting public? Last week, of course, there were some engagements about this. The Chamber of Automobile Dealership Ghana and some stakeholders have been engaging on this. Today, we have the Vehicle Asset Dealers Association, who are, of course, the real owners of some of these seized vehicles by Yoko, who are equally raising concerns about them. Alhaji Saeed Rahman is the Administrative Secretary for the Vehicle Asset Dealers Union of Ghana. Opoku Echiman is the General Secretary of the group. Alhaji, How do you say it? How do you even say it? Just Mubarak or something?
Mubarak.
Oh, Eid Mubarak to you, Alaji. Welcome. You're enjoying the holiday, I guess.
Yes, very well. Very well.
But it's not a good time for you in terms of business.
Yes.
You're complaining, for instance, together with Opoku, that your members are being harassed over these issues relating to stolen vehicles. Yeah. Do you have an idea of how many vehicles have been seized so far?
First and foremost, good afternoon and good afternoon to our viewers. Vehicle and Asset Dealers Union has been existing for almost about 20 years now. We have been dealing in used and new cars, buying and selling.
Right.
And we deal genuinely in cars. So, by the look of things, about 90% of cars that import into the country, we have been dealing with it. So we are there on last December 9th when Yoko came to our garages and he said some of the cars has been stolen. It was a shock to you. It was a shock to us.
You didn't believe that? Yes. Are you not holding brief for your colleagues, not knowing where necessarily all of the cars are coming from? Could that not be the case, that you don't know where all the cars are coming from?
Yes, it could be true because we buy, some of them import from outside, some of them buy from here, and some from the auction dealers we also deal with. So basically, that is this whole thing.
Okay. Opoku, let's talk about what moves you're taking and some of the steps you're taking to engage Yoko on this, because the harassment, as I understand the reports are pointing out, continues. Yoko is still coming after your members, going into some of the garages. How bad is the situation now as we speak?
Honestly, auto theft has been in the system for quite some time now.
Okay. Right.
In the automotive industry, as far back as 1906.
Okay, so this is way back. It's not a new thing.
It's an old phenomenon.
Right.
I hope you understand. Daily, every month, yearly, thefts do go on in our industry. We are aware of this. And as a union, we took steps a couple of times to engage our members on, how to acquire, if you are acquiring online or via phone or via an individual or an agent, how to do it. When you are getting it from the port, how to go about it, where to conduct your searches from, to be able to make sure those cars are really cleared.
Right.
And so we were, as my colleague said, kind of surprised and shocked at the antagonistic posture of Yoko, because as a matter of fact, it made me feel that as businessmen and traders, for that matter, and ambassadors of a beloved country, we are not protected when it comes to the transactions that we do outside, which we believe that those transactions need to be sacred, it needs to be preserved and protected and respected for that matter. So if at least you have information that some of the cars that are in our garages are
stolen vehicle. Okay. Yeah.
Stolen. At least no one can be more Catholic than the Pope. So what we expected was that at least we could be first contacted because we have a union. In fact, we have a union. If your sheep, for instance, is stolen, you have to go to the abattoir.
Right.
So you can't be on the media and then just try to cause damage or dent the reputation that we have been able to earn over the years.
So it's beginning to affect even the purchases, your business.
From December till now,
right.
the operation started, or the raid started in December 9th. From that time on through the Christmas festivities till date, we haven't been able to come up. And don't forget, we're now even coming up from the shocks of the COVID-19, which as a matter of fact, if you ask myself and my colleague and even the union chairman, none of our members nationwide benefited from the COVID-19 alleviation fund. So we are individually trying our best to be on our feet. And this thing just comes in as a big blow to us because you ask yourself, why this time?
Yeah.
And why now? Because from 7 years now, when this government came into power, till date, every day, every month, yearly, auto theft goes on in these countries. The data is there. It can be checked on it.
But for those who are watching us now, who may not be aware of how you run the processes in terms of your procurement,
Sure.
Like, are you able to educate us briefly on that? Because I'm asking the question because the destination or the origin of the vehicles is not necessarily here in Ghana. So it's fair to say that they may have been stolen. Is that possibility there? What process do you normally go through?
Yeah, that one there can be possible. But what we mean is in our business, every business has a trade secret.
Okay.
Every business.
Yes, but there's a standard procedure that you go
the
through when you're
standard we
purchasing.
do
Do
is
you check?
Yes, we have documents and everything on the platform we check.
Okay.
You'll be in your garage, somebody will come. Say, my brother, I'm selling this car. He'll give you the document. There's a document to it, which Ghana government, when it takes the duties, the customs and everything will give you the document. So we go to the customs and check the document. So this cars and everything. So they will clear, so this car is okay, so you can go ahead and sell it. But what is worrying us is, all the cars Yoko has taken, we have paid duty on it. It's a fully paid duty, which the Ghana government is supposed to have checked before the cars was entered.
Okay, so your argument is, well, you've cleared me, even if it's a stolen car.
The government has cleared.
But it doesn't take away the fact that it may have been.
What I mean is, it's a trade, and the government has all the apparatus, everything. I'm not defending to check. I'm in my garage and you have brought me the document and the car.
Right.
Where should I check? Go to customs. Because I can't check from FBI, CIA. What we normally check is when you are at the port and there's an issue, they will refer you to Interpol. So you go to Interpol, they will clear and you come and you take the car. We also have another platforms we check if the cars are genuine. We have other platforms we can do. We have checked auto check and those platforms. We checked the VIN number and everything. The car.
That you check the vehicles,
Some of them has been cleared, the ones we have. So we are expecting the government has taken on the duty paid. We have examination fees on. So as a layman, my brother, government supposed to check from there because the Interpol, who is dealing with the Interpol, is the state apparatus, and they are there. Cars are not like a mobile phone. They bring in those cars. You have taken duties, and I have come and parked the car in my garage, and I'm selling it as the normal practice. And you come and you said the car is stolen. So what are their agencies and those people who cleared the cars are now, they are also, everybody is quiet.
So there's no part, and I want to get that argument right, there's no part of your procurement process where it is likely, I'm not saying and I'm not accusing you of doing it, where it is likely that someone could buy a stolen vehicle.
Yes.
Are you ruling that out? Is it that it's not possible?
No, it's possible.
It's possible that you may buy a stolen vehicle.
Brother, let me come.
Okay.
You know, in every business activity or profession that a group of people come together to partake in, definitely there will be blemish. There is no profession globally
that you have
you wouldn't have ups and downs in there. And so we accept that, and we know that for sure. But the direction and the manner, if you want to fight a menace, is either the way you go about it could reduce that menace, or it could go a long way to dent the reputation of the individuals who are doing the business, or the profession. Our issue here is we do due diligence. I don't think any confident and bold thief, allegedly thief, will be able to come into the country with, vehicles which are stolen, as we see allegedly, and then approach this robust custom procedures that we have in our country. Come out, cleared, pay the required duties
on the
allegedly stolen vehicle, and then when we are fighting this complex nature of a war against auto theft, we will leave those institutions which are mandated and well resourced to undertake some of these checks. For instance, the JRA can't leave them out.
You always pay your duties and whatever it is.
Interpol out. You can't leave national security out. The Marine Police, the Ghana Standard Authority and all that. Because why do I say this? We have their heavy presence at the port, the various ports of entry. So ask yourself, my brother, can somebody who has stolen a good be able to go through this
and still get in a position of the vehicle? But what steps are you taking?
And also display or parade those vehicles in garages. My brother, you and I, since I'm a young man,
right,
from younger age to date, I've never seen a thief or an armed robber or a fraudster who deals in business in broad daylight. I haven't seen some before. So who will have that guts to be selling stolen goods in garages?
I see that you're not happy about how Yoko is going about the issue.
Yes.
But for your members as well, are you taking steps, for instance, for the sake of your members, to, for instance, engage Yoko?
We've done that already.
Okay.
In fact, initially, we were expecting that since we have a union, okay, even tomato sellers, sorry to say that, have a union or they have an association, how much more vehicle importers in the country? We do have. And Yoko knows us. They could have approached us with whatever material they had, purporting that we had stolen vehicles in our possession. And at least you talk to us, bring a document along, or you ask us on the point or the verge of you picking up those cars or seizing those cars. You ask us for the kind of documents we have in possession, at least purporting that those vehicles are ours and they are not stolen. You don't come in a Rambo style, take these vehicles away, about 39 vehicles or 38 vehicles initially, take them away, and then later release have a press release. And then emphatically telling us that you have been able to clamp down the syndicates of these auto thefts.
It's as though they are roping your association in.
That is it.
And that's why I want us to look at the remedial measures. Okay. What measures are you taking going forward to address this? The 38 cars, have you retrieved all of them, by the way? Okay, so that
Yoko was demanding for some
documents on the 38.
Yes.
On the 38.
Yes.
So, okay, we'll come. Yeah, we'll come.
So
to that.
we and the lawyers, our lawyers, and then we went and we have gathered everything and we have submitted the documents to Yoko for almost about a month now. For even Yoko to receive, to write to us, we have received your document. As at now,
nobody is responding to it.
Through the lawyer, through our...
So where are the vehicles, by the way?
The vehicles are impounded.
They are with them. And just imagine these heavy, luxurious vehicles. If you park for 2 weeks without attending to, just imagine what will happen to the damage. And some of the cars, the chassis they produce to us is different from the ones on the cars. So, Yoko, are they being... What is the rationale behind what they are doing? Because if we are importing over 80,000 cars to the country every year, and we are looking for 400, do you go out and telling the public they should, where are they going to look for? You should give options. Oh, when you are buying a car, this is the process. Have they given any alternatives? It's the same alternative we are using to sell the cars, is you are giving to the general public. What we mean is, now the Ghanaian people, we are dealing with the public. The public. And the Yoko is there without doing anything. He will just issue a statement and you go and relax. We will do it, we will take it to court. They will say, go to Yoko, do the... We are doing everything possible, but Yoko is not responding.
But what systems do you have yourself? I mean, of checking the vehicles. You're talking about some of the auto check, some of the platforms you have.
My brother.
Have you given those systems out?
You see, with the procedure of buying cars from outside the country, anybody in our business will attest to the fact that you can't buy a stolen, you can't stay in Ghana here and buy a stolen vehicle.
Why are you so sure about that?
Because of where we get our cars from.
Okay. Yes. You are sure, 100% sure of the source.
The procedure through which a car can be imported through the various organizations which are the various ports and crossing borders of these countries of origin. That is our issue. Okay, we have privately organized, privately sponsored organizations. We have government-sponsored organizations. all checking this auto. This thing is not an issue of, it's not a small thing where you can just impound 3 or 4 cars or 100 cars and then you go to sleep thinking that this menace will just cease automatically. We are talking about a yearly stealing of about 1.2 million in US alone.
Yeah, so Yoko has every right to be concerned, isn't it? That it does happen.
If you have a right to be concerned, we don't doubt it. But what is the procedure that you are using to clamp down
on these vehicles? Do you know someone who's personally been affected out of this, or have you?
We have.
We have
a victim.
You also been affected.
Yes. We have a couple of members in our union who are affected by this auto theft issue. And as a matter of fact, a couple of cars have been seized. I initially told you we were talking about 39 cars which were impounded. About 38 or 37 of them are from members in our union.
Because they came for it at the garage.
Okay, and you asked us to produce legally the documents, and you gave us the requirement you wanted. You asked us to either produce the sale or purchase agreement, produce ship manifest, bill of lading, or a proof of payment of duty.
And all of these?
All of these have been provided to you as at 28th March 2023 this year. Until to date, no response has been heard from their quarters, either through our council or our legal council.
I'm interested in what next steps you'll be taking, legally speaking, because we don't know what your options are now. I'm sure that you've tried. You keep trying to reach out to Yoko. There's no response. Are you heading to court on this? What are you?
We are already in court about this. But we wouldn't want to sit aloof and watch the source of our livelihood just collapse and go down the drain anyhow. Because as we speak, the union has a membership of about 7,000 plus nationwide. And we
7,000 deals.
Yes, and we have dependent on us as well. You know, when we don't import vehicles or when we are not in business, these auto sprayers, key programmers, what have you,
can also not deal.
Right. Of course, they can also not be in business. Okay, and so definitely we wouldn't sit aloof.
Alhaji, I'm interested in your story, for instance. You were talking about the fact that, for instance, you've been affected. Is it the case that, so once the car is there, obviously you can't sell? So you are basically running out of business?
Yes, they have taken the car and they have taken the...
Are they that expensive? Or, I mean...
My brother, we have talked...
Luxurious vehicles? Yes. Very.
I have a friend which has a car. They paid a duty of almost about 410,000 Ghana.
That's a lot of money.
The car is selling for $200,000.
Wow.
And you have just taken the car just like that and parked. Said that allegedly.
The condition no one knows. Even if it's safe right now, no one knows.
So let's deal with you one-on-one. Okay, this is the process we want you to go through. We have done that. And what we are saying is that it could be allegedly fine. But what is the process? What is the... So Yoko sitting down and giving the media information without... they are
from the group.
They are not being fair to us.
Okay.
You demanded documents. We have given out the documents to you. In fact, what proves that those cars belong to those affected members have been given to you. Copy of those documents have been given to you. So what next? You wouldn't respond to us. 3 weeks down the line, we hear about it in the Daily Graphic. Something which initially, when we sat to meet with you, the Yoko boss, made a point blank that is something we shouldn't be on a media platform. We need to make sure the right things are done, right documents are being checked, and then the cars will be released. But what do we have here?
Okay, since it's affecting your business, we're wrapping up, but I'll give you the opportunity to speak to the general public on, for instance, what they should be on the lookout for when dealing with your members, and also perhaps reassuring them that the cars you're selling out there, they are not stolen cars. You have any message for them?
As a matter of
and perhaps what they should be on the lookout for. I'm sure that will be very helpful, because so people can deal with the genuine groups such as yours, which is, of course, dealing in these vehicles.
All that we want to say and the information we want to pass out is they should have confidence dealing with us like they have done over the years, about 20-something years, with the Vehicle and Asset Dealers Union of Ghana, who solely deal in used vehicles, slightly used vehicles from outside the country. As a matter of fact, there are solutions to which they can adhere to, because auto theft does not only go on outside this jurisdiction, it even goes on in here. And so we can only let them understand that since auto manufacturers have added this anti-robbery or anti-theft technology into almost all the cars, those criminals have also upgraded
their way
tactics
of doing things.
Doing things. And so all we ask is that make sure when you are buying a car, like they always do, because let's say about 10 years, 12 years down the line, I believe your car, when you are even about buying your car, you take the chassis, you go online to these websites, either Interpol, their database, they have this stolen motor vehicle database, which is being accessed, and instantly you have a result. You can also go to this VEN searches platforms, the notable ones. I don't want to mention names to beef up there.
Oh no, probably you want to give the information out there so that
you give a
can
little
always check.
token, you pay a little online, and then they will do cross check of the last sale that took place, even how much the person bought the car for will be reviewed during those searches, and they do it. Our customers know about this.
But are there some meetings coming up in the course of the week that you'll be engaging Yoko on this while you also pursue this what else is happening in court? Yeah.
Okay. After the holidays, our lawyers are going back to Yoko.
Okay.
To the response, because we gave them the documents.
The documents
we are waiting
the
for them
38
to. Yes. But we are assuring the general public, our worry is the government is silent. Okay. We don't know, because paying card.
Have you tried the trade ministry?
We have petitioned the chairman. Select committee
we are working.
Defense and Interior. That was
when was that?
24th of February. We are yet to receive a response. We copied even the ranking member, Honorable James.
So you've been working really hard.
Yeah, yes, because it's something which is affecting our business. Because no one wants to be tagged as somebody who has stolen. So Ghanaians and our typical. If somebody said, this man is a thief, you think that people will come. That is why we are say, Yoko, you have the right to do your job,
something,
but we also have the right to do our business.
You see,
and it's affecting us.
We are being made to think that maybe it's another way, another tactic to cause disaffection to our customers, and also to bring down the patronage of the home use vehicles, and if possible, hop onto these new assembly.
Okay, but we don't want to go into that. That's another controversial area. We don't have the evidence for now.
That's how we feel. Because over the years,
we don't have
we
evidence
import 100,000 vehicles are imported into the country yearly.
I get the point.
Yes, and
but I'm just saying we don't have the evidence.
Account for 90,000. We account for 90,000.
Okay.
And you are telling me that because of 35 vehicles which are allegedly stolen, you want to blacklist our business? No, you don't have to do that.
I see. Well, definitely the conversation will go on. We'll still be watching the space. After the holidays, of course, we're getting an indication that the vehicle dealers will be back to mount pressure. Alhaji Said Rahman is the Administrative Secretary for the Vehicle Asset Dealers Union of Ghana, and Joshua Opoku Angerman is the General Secretary of the group. Thank you, gentlemen, for joining us. And of course, we'll keep following up on their concerns. Well, it's just a week to that. Of course, celebration that many in the Central region are on the lookout for, and here in Ghana as well. It's about the Aboakyer Festival, deer hunting. What's the significance, and what do you need to know about the festival? We'll tell you about it, plus some other stories here on The Pulse. Stay with us. We'll be back. And it's just about a week to this year's edition of the Aboakyer Deer Hunting Festival in Winneba, and already the excitement is building up ahead of the event. The Asafo groups, as we understand, have started parading through the Winneba township as they, of course, energizing the populace in anticipation of that festival. Well, with a history of clashes during the festival, the organizers have stepped up security to prevent any of such occurrence this time round. Let's bring in Bismarck Odum Saki. He is, of course, manager of one of the media houses there in the area, also an enthusiast about this festival. Nice to be speaking to you, Bismarck, and thank you for joining us here on the polls. Let's start off by talking about, first of all, how the euphoria is going into this festivities.
Thank you so much, Blessed, and thanks for having me on your program. It's been great. It's been exciting down here in Winneba. You can imagine, that's why I couldn't come to the studio. I just couldn't see myself leaving the excitement and coming to the studio.
I see.
But it's fun here. We are warming up to arguably the biggest festival in Ghana, the Aboakyer Festival, the Deer Hunting Festival, the festival that we all learn about when we are in school. So it is coming on the first week of May, and already plans are in place. Like you rightly said, the Asafo groups, that is the Trafo and Dentifo, are already parading through towns. The Asafo songs are being sung at various houses, at various locations, in various radio stations in Winneba. In fact, the chiefs and elders, the traditional council, everyone is poised for this year Aboakyer Festival. And this year, I'm even amazed. The excitement is unprecedented. So are we looking forward to a successful celebration of the Aboakyer Festival 2023?
And for those who may not be aware about the history of this festival itself, how exciting is it? And tell us about it.
Okay, so the Aboakyer Festival is the deer hunting festival. Actually, it didn't start as a deer hunting festival. History tells that the festival started with human beings. I mean, the gods requested that we should sacrifice human beings for them. At a point in time, it got to a point in time, our elders complained about that. So they said, okay, fine. Then why don't you do tiger? Then they realized that before they catch one tiger, actually, the tiger might have killed a lot of people. So they went back to the gods and they arrived on deer. So the Deer Hunting Festival has been a festival for the people of the Futus for a long time. A long time. A lot of stories are being told. This is one aspect that I know about and I've been told about. A lot of different stories are being told about that. But I came to see the Deer Hunting Festival, where the two Asafo groups go in search of live deer from the forest to bring it to the chief to step on it and to do the rituals around it. So basically, the Deer Hunting Festival is the festival of the people of the Futu, precisely Simpa, the people of Winneba, and it is about catching a live deer from the forest to the town.
I see, interesting history there. And how about the processes marking the event? What's the normal process, the expectation? What starts off or kicks off the event? Is it just about the Asafo groups making some, doing some parading around the community?
No. There are a lot of activities that will go on. In fact, we have two sides of the whole thing. We have the rituals and the traditional events, which will go on and which will be done by the traditional council. We also have the entertainment aspect of it, which the youth definitely will take ownership of. So for the ritual, we have a lot of gods in Winneba. Winneba, I would say, is a town of gods. So the Winneba, we carry gods as part of the festival. So during the festival, we will parade the gods through the principal streets of Winneba. So if you allow me, starting this Saturday, which is 29th of this month, on the 29th, in preparation for the festival, we are going to do planting of trees at the Triafo hunting grounds. Because of the modern age and other things, some people are encroaching into the hunting grounds. So we want to reverse that by planting of seeds, and that has continued. That started a long time ago, about 3 years ago. Nenyi Gate, the 7th, and the traditional council has been doing that. So that is on the 29th. On the 30th, we will have a musical concert, gospel musical concert at Liberation Square. On Monday, that's 1st May, there will be a sanitation. And then on Tuesday, sanitation, cleanup exercise through the town. On Tuesday, there will be a health walk and a regatta. Boat race. You know boats, right? So the fishermen would use their boat for a race, and there will be a tug of war between the two Asafo groups. That's the Dente and the Triafo. The tug of war. You will see who is stronger, which group is stronger. Mostly the Dente and the Triafo. This is an interesting event that you should watch. On Wednesday, we have a football tournament. Already, what we call the Aboakyer Cup started a month earlier, and we've played. The 3rd place will be played on Wednesday. On Thursday, there will be a cooking competition. The Friday is a beautiful day that each and everyone should be in Winneba. It's the parading of deities. So on the Thursday, the people will carry Basa Basa. It's a god, and that god, when he's carried, you see tons of people following the god. On Friday, the Triafo people will carry Jamisi, and the Dentifo people will carry the Eskama. All of them will happen on the Saturday, which is the main day. That is the day we go to the forest to hunt for the deer and bring it to the Deba ground. After that, we do what we call the Akusia Lontuba. One lady, one man in a queue. Those who catch the deer first, that is our celebration. That's our way of celebrating the Aboakyer Festival. This one is for the youth. Very interesting. Okay. And then on Sunday, we continue with the rituals and then the Aboakyer Cup finals.
Okay, I see. Earlier, you were talking about how, of course, there are concerns about deforestation, the forest in which the hunting is even done. How bad is the situation now?
Okay, so there are two causes to that. We have some cattle rearers around the area. So the cattle have been feeding in that area. Two, development is happening. So settlement is encroaching into the forest area. It is worrying. However, for some years now, we are mitigating that challenge by introducing the planting of cheap trees. As the traditional council has introduced the planting of trees. And for Assad last year, they had planted about 8,000 trees. And they are looking forward to also see how they can dialogue with the cattle people and give them another place to get their cattle. So that is it for now. For now, I would say it's getting better.
Okay, and then this is supposed to open up the area to, tourism opportunities and all of that. Would you say that businesses in the community are doing that, adjusting themselves to it?
Definitely. The whole, when it's Aboakyer, when it's time for Aboakyer, from Winneba Junction to Winneba, there are a lot of businesses. New businesses spring up, a lot of things, right from run-over and restaurants to the beach. People come there to sell. In fact, corporate Winneba is ready. Nightlife in Winneba is ready. We have a lot of pubs, Biggies, Tempest, Gloriaca, all of them. They are ready. Heritage, they are all ready. And of course, hotels too are ready for the event. To start the event this Saturday, my media house is doing what we call the Rep Your Jersey. Everyone is wearing the jersey of the team he supports, and we are moving through the principal streets of Winneba just to create the awareness that Aboakyer is coming. So from there, the entertainment activities goes on and on. Monday, we are doing the ride with JKA, James Kofi Annan, and then it goes on and on like that.
Okay, I'm grateful.
In fact, it's going to be interesting this year.
Right. We'll have to leave it here. Thank you for joining us here on The Pulse. And one of the conceptions in the public domain about the Anopheles mosquito has been its ability to withstand extreme temperatures. But is it really a true situation? That's the question we're asking, of course, in the second of our series on unraveling the Anopheles Mosquito. JoyNews medical correspondent Dr. Neta Passam looks at the insects, of course, temperature resilience. She spoke to Dr. Kingsley Beidou, Vice President of Pan-Africa Mosquito Control Association of Ghana.
What time is it? 7:30. Time the Anopheles thefensi is usually out. We've already spoken about the peak biting times of the Anopheles thefensi, that is from 6 p.m. to around 9 p.m. But is it just about the peak biting time? What about temperature? We have heard that it's able to withstand high temperatures. Really?
For extreme temperature, I'm not sure we can say it is adapted to extreme temperatures. What we do know from knowledge available is the fact that it has high tolerance. I mean, the spectrum of tolerance for temperature is broader compared to that of the Anopheles gambiae. For example, it's been reported that it's able to endure temperatures about 3.4 degrees Celsius lower and higher than that of the Anopheles gambiae. So which means that if Anopheles gambiae is able to survive somewhere 16, 17 degrees Celsius, is able to go lower, 3.4 degrees lower than that. And if Anopheles gambiae is able to survive 33, 34, 35 degrees Celsius, it's capable of going 3.4 degrees Celsius above that. And so, I mean, perhaps that gives it the ability to adapt to broad conditions of temperature. And perhaps one of the reasons why it's able to invade Africa coming from.
So, protect yourself against the Anopheles thefensi mosquito by sleeping under insecticide-treated mosquito nets, wearing long clothing, making use of insect repellents, and using indoor residual spraying. For JoyNews, Dr. Neta Passam.
Over 100 people who were displaced by tidal waves at Moray in the central region are yet to receive support. Many families are struggling to find shelter and food after their homes were affected when the tragedy struck last week. Richard Kojinyako visited the community and has come through with this report.
The strong waves swept through the town and displaced many. Days after the tragedy, the affected persons are still struggling to find shelter and food. Kwekwata Penyin is a resident here at Moray.
More than 15 houses have been destroyed. Where the women used to smoke their fish have all been flattened. There was a filling station where I'm currently standing. It's been taken over by the sea. We are appealing to the president to intervene and help us out of the situation.
Na yɛn wɛn dɛ krum fat ɔbɛyɛ na kumatu na igwane eti ansa na yɛlba abɔhwɛ dede ɔte dam na baabi ofi bɛ yɛbɛ na yɛn dɛ na edwuru menyo kese na wayɛ ni su.
Sofu Kwekutewia is the Brentahin of Moray.
We all ran away when the disaster struck. When we returned, we saw that our buildings had collapsed. Now many of the people don't even know where to lay their heads. As I speak, a woman and her daughter are sleeping under a shed. The strong waves went beyond 100 meters of the shore into our homes. The premix fuel station here and many of the canoes of the fishermen have all been destroyed.
The regent of Moray, Nana Obokesiampa the first, is distraught.
We had a very catastrophic event here. If not for God, Ghana would be mourning the entire Moray community. The sea waves, the tidal waves, and it was just crazy. And it's not the first time this has been happening. We have been trying to reach out to government leaders to support us, to no avail. So last Monday, what happened is like the last straw that broke the camel's back. You see, these households, they've all been displaced. Now we have hundreds of people with no shelter. When you come to Mori, you have what we call patase. Every community has patase. So these people has been reduced to sleeping under the sheds. Some are mothers, some are feeding their young babies. It's just sad. It's just so sad. If I should walk you right now to the community, you see people carrying their babies with no place to stay. So as a matter of urgency, this is an emergency. We need government to pay attention to us. We feel neglected. We feel like we have been so marginalized. No one is really concerned about the plight of Mori. But Mori is a very powerful community.
The Chief Executive Officer of Kwa Mixture, Professor Ato Duncan, who hails and resides in the district, called for government intervention to help support the community.
So this is the time all of us must stand up and see what we can do to help this community. I'm coming from the Center of Awareness Global Peace Mission point of view. This is an institution that seeks to address issues confronting peace. And I believe that this is a very serious issue confronting peace. Now about 100 people have been displaced, and you don't know what will happen in the next few weeks and few months. So I think that something must be done as early as possible. And this is a huge task. No individual can take this upon himself to fix this particular but there's a need to build a defense wall. So I'm pleading with the government to come in with immediate effect as early as possible. I'm also pleading with the World Bank also to consider if something can be given out for this particular project to be done as early as possible.
He donated some items to help assuage the suffering of the affected people. From Mori, Richard Kujinyako reporting.
And some Muslims in Dubai, of course, they use the Ramadan season to see God's intervention for the growth of our country. With the current economic turmoil, many of these Ghanaian students join locals of Shamsharaj Al-Qasima University to pray for the turnaround of the country. My colleague Jackson Osei has been monitoring events closely from the United Arab Emirates, narrates how some of these students express optimism that their call to Allah about Ghana will yield results.
Eid Fitr is being celebrated across the whole world. Today, JoyNews, we are here at Al-Qasima University in Sharjah State in the UAE. We've come to talk to some of our Ghanaian brothers here in the university. We want to find out how education is ongoing here and even how the whole fasting went for them. What are the benefits they got to from the fasting, and also how education or everything here in the UAE is treating them. We want to find out if they are ready to come back to Ghana to help with the knowledge they've acquired here in Al-Qasima University, or they would want to go to a different country.
So far, I would say Alhamdulillah, it's been great. Because, getting the opportunity to travel outside and study, not everybody gets the opportunity, so we are thankful, inshallah. If we come, do they use us? No. If you put us in position that we can affect change, I think we are all happy to help because it's our country. If it's good for all of us. If it's bad for all of us. So if you put us in places to affect changes, I think it will help. But the problem is when you come back, there are no opportunities for you. So you come back and then continue your life where you left off. So that's the problem we are facing. Give the youth the opportunity. Because there are people who have ideas, who have many things to contribute to the economy, to the nation, on building the country, things we learn outside. But there are no opportunities. So if you don't have the opportunity, you cannot do anything. So you'll just be sitting there doing nothing. In Ghana, I keep praying. All things will be possible. Things are possible. Things will be possible. We just have to keep praying and then working hard towards our goal. Everything will be fine, inshallah. As for me personally, let's see where the lower life takes us, inshallah. I cannot say for sure. But if life takes us back to Ghana, inshallah, we are happy to contribute to the nation. If it takes us somewhere else, maybe someday we come back and contribute some other way.
My name is Haruna Saibu from Ghana, the northern part of Ghana, Tamale. We are at Al-Qasimiya University in Sharjah in the United Arab Emirates. I came here in the year 2019, 4 years now. We give thanks to the Almighty Allah for making it possible for us to begin the fasting right from the beginning up to the end of it, which ended yesterday. And today marks, the first of Shawwal, which is, the happiest day of, all Muslims across the globe. We have come today, to thank the Almighty Allah for making the Ramadan possible for us. And we also come here to thank the Almighty Allah for, for His bounties and for His blessings upon us and all Muslims across the globe. Actually, comparing the system here to that of the system in Ghana, I would say that maybe because of technology, I would say that the system here is a little bit better, compared to the level of technology here, the advancement in technology. Because we come and realize that when we started online classes, online lectures, we came to realize that we are lacking behind. As Africans, we are lacking behind. As people who doesn't know how to use the technology or the methodology of teaching and learning in our online teaching and learning. But right now we are getting used to the system, that is the online teaching and learning system. We extend our greetings to our brothers and sisters in Ghana, all Muslims, all brothers and sisters in Ghana. We also thank especially people who came to who put barakah in our lives, people who changed our lives, especially where we are standing right now, Al-Qasimiya University. Our thanks goes to the financier. Our thanks goes to the founder of this university, Dr. Muhammad Sultan Abdul Qasim. May Allah bless him and bless his entire family.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. My name is Abdurrahman Rahimov from Uzbekistan. Ramadan is very nice and beautiful in UAE because all things we can do, and as a student we have scholarship, and there is no any issue with food and other things. And actually I prefer to eat fruits and some liquids like water or other things, and they are also different in UAE. So there is no any issue with fasting, alhamdulillah. A happy Ramadan for all. I wish all the best for you, and taqabbalallah minna minkum. Hayat mubarak bo'lsin, hammamizdan Alloh rozi bo'lsin.
Prayer for the Eid al-Fitr has come to an end at Al-Qasimiya University here at Sharjah in the UAE. We got to talk to some of our brothers from Ghana, and they've made us know what will go into this Eid al-Fitr celebration, and also what they expect from Ghanaians, even as they are here in someone's state, reporting from Al-Qasimiya University here in Sharjah in the UAE. My name is Jackson Osein Tiamo. JoyNews.
While staying on the festivities, Ashanti Regional Minister has advised the Muslim youth to conduct themselves righteously to reduce the worrying trend of the deviant practices which hampered national development. Simon Oseimen says that admonition comes at the heels of the increasing numbers in teenage pregnancies, thievery, cybercrime and substance abuse amongst the youth in the region. He's encouraged the community to ensure peaceful coexistence. Emmanuel Bright Kuku has more.
The Ashanti Regional Minister blames the spate of deviant behaviors on child negligence, leniency of parental control and streetism. He urged Muslims to reflect on the essence of the Eid celebration to conduct themselves righteously in ensuring tranquility and development.
I wish to draw your attention to some other social cankers that have remained a bane in our society. Of much interest to me are the issues of teenage pregnancy, substance abuse, cybercrime, armed robbery, which have reached alarming proportions in our communities. Let me say that some of these deviant behaviors are developed because of child delinquencies, lack of parental care and control, as well as streetism, which were unchecked during early childhood development. Let us use this occasion to reflect on how we can conduct ourselves better for the benefit of the nation. Our conduct should guide the younger generations to shun vengeance, violence, indiscipline, and other negative attitudes.
Representative of the Asantehene, Nana Abdul Rahman Bwedi, is worried over the affiliation of the Muslim community to misdemeanors in the country.
Musa Mohammed, Ibrahim Tanku, Tiababu Bahari Aquacobo, Kwakuyabu Abako Afra, and Zongo Paninfu in Yinala. Miss Lamo near Henfo, Miniamo Henfo, Ame Batomo, in Yinala, Miss Lamo, Monemo Mano Etna, Namono, Tuamofo.
Reports suggest the emergence of jihadist activities in neighboring countries, with about 200 Ghanaians integrated into 4 notorious jihadist groups operating in West Africa. Deputy Director of Counter-Terrorism at the National Security, Daniel Osebonsu, prevailed on the Muslim community to support the government to curtail jihadist activities.
Gone are the days when people came to live with us and they went to the elders to seek for advice or seek for permission. Now it's done no more. So we have engaged the leaders that they should pay attention, given that there is an emergence of jihadist activities around us. But we know that the bond and the security we have created in this country, it remains robust and resilient. Hence, we require your cooperation. We require that you support us so that some of our brothers and sisters will not be recruited. We are here to ensure that we build Ghana together with you. National security cannot do the job alone. We need you.
Some Muslim youth welcomed the message, advising their brethren not to fall prey to such social misbehaviors.
What I have to say to them is we have to bring ourselves down and keep on praying that, hoping that inshallah it shall be well. Yeah, giving yourself out so cheap wouldn't be something that will help in the future.
When the youth are educated as to what to do, and when they are engaged in so many things, it abstains them from indulging themselves in illegal activities.
People decide not to go to school and then they want to force on them. If someone decides not to go to school, there are other options. You can let the person learn other works. But then if you tend to force school on them, and they don't want it, they will end up following bad friends, skipping school, doing a lot of stuff.
If everybody talk to him, chat inside the house, so I believe inshallah outside we cannot get any cases like the way the Otunfo this thing Chami talking about.
The Eid al-Fitr celebration is marked by Muslims globally to end the holy month of Ramadan. The month-long prayers and fasting is traditionally climaxed with observatory prayers for all Muslims, after which families gather to share meals, exchange gifts, and engage in charitable acts. We thank God for a new year. We are going home to make merry. We will pray to God to bless us with long life and prosperity. I'll be preparing tuzafi for my husband and his friends. Happy Eid to everyone. There are a lot of foods and drinks at home. Everyone is invited.
So for the Muslim community here in the Ashanti region, they are grateful to Allah for a successful Ramadan. They are hoping the new year brings in peace, joy, and prosperity. From here at the Kumasi Central Mosque, my name is Emmanuel Bright-Kweku. Eid Mubarak.
And Eid Mubarak to our Muslim brothers. That's all we have for you here on The Pulse. I'm Blessed Sogah. Log on to myjoyonline.com. A number of stories making the rounds there, including our top story on the illegal mining martyrs. Check them out. That's all we have for you. We'll see you again. Bye.